Nintendo. Despite my very public misgivings about Nintendo does know how to put on a good show, and they know a thing or two about making good games. So while I will be talking about Nintendo Switch exclusives, they will not be the primary focus of this video. I'll also be glossing over any Nintendo Switch ports that are already available on PC. The first game showcased was Mario & Luigi Brothership. It's a brand new take on the classic Mario & Luigi RPG, and to be honest, I really like the old GBA titles, so this is probably something I'm gonna pick up myself. Right after that was the Nintendo World Championship NES Edition, and I am not super interested in this title, but hey, if there's an actual tournament with money on the line, then sure, I'll give it a shot. But imagine if they made a newer version of this style of game, but with their newer titles. Next up is Fairy Tail 2. I'm gonna get this out of the way, I didn't really watch Fairy Tail, that was more my brother's thing. What's interesting is that they made Fairy Tail into an RPG rather than, you know, an arena fighter. I suppose part of it is that Bamco isn't publishing this title, so yeah. Anyways, this game's coming to PC, and it'll probably run pretty well on Steam Deck. That said, the first game did have issues on Steam Deck with the cutscenes, so you had to use Proton GE to get the cutscenes working. I mean, hopefully this won't be an issue again, but it could be. I don't know. Next up is supposedly one of the best RPGs available on Apple Arcade, Fantasian, now known as Fantasian Neo Dimension. Fantasian looks like a really good game, but the biggest issue I've had was that the game was just Apple Arcade exclusive. You needed a subscription, and you had to play on Apple hardware, which I didn't want to do. But now it's coming to all platforms. It's coming to PlayStation, it's coming to Nintendo Switch, it's coming to Xbox, and most importantly, it's coming to PC. Yes, it was a mobile game, but it was a full-fledged RPG. As for whether or not this game will run well on Steam Deck, I have no reason to believe that it wouldn't run well on Steam Deck. And a new Nintendo Switch sports title. Could you emulate this on your Steam Deck? Probably. But should you? No, not really. You know, these sorts of games are very contingent on motion control. If you're interested in this type of game, then maybe just play this on your Nintendo Switch. This next one's an interesting title, Mio, Memories in Orbit. It's a Metroidvania, and it's available on PC as well. The art style kind of looks interesting. It's sort of like a mix between like 3D and also like half sketches. I'm not really sure how to describe it, but it does look pretty neat. Metroidvanias are definitely up my alley, and this one looks like one of the more unique ones out there, so I'm gonna give it a shot. I think this game will run pretty well on Steam Deck. Next up is Disney Illusion Island. This game's actually already out, but there is a free update available today, so be sure to get it. Next up is Hello Kitty Island Adventure, the South Park joke made real. It looks like a cozy game, and honestly, I don't like cozy games, but hey, this game's actually not on Steam, so I don't really care. The game's actually available on Android and iOS, but I'm sure most of my audience doesn't care about that either. Next up is Looney Tunes Wacky World of Sports. Believe it or not, this is not the first Looney Tunes game where they played basketball. No, there was a Space Jam game back in the 90s. What if they just remade that game but like actually good? That'd be kinda sick, right? Anyways, it's not just basketball though, it's soccer, and it's also tennis as well. While the game itself doesn't have a Steam page, it has been announced for Steam, and honestly, it looks like it'll run pretty well on Steam Deck. Not that I would play it or anything, it doesn't look that interesting to me though. Anyways, free Among Us update. Among Us is on Steam, it works quite well on Steam Deck, but yeah, free update. Next up is a game called Farmagia. All of the character designs are being done by Hiro Mashima, the guy that wrote Fairy Tail. Wow, it's the second time we've seen Fairy Tail on this list, huh? Anyways, unlike most monster taming or monster capturing games, this isn't anything like Pokemon or Shin Megami Tensei or anything of the sort. No, this is more like a farming simulator mixed with something like an RTS, like Pikmin or something. If this is actual gameplay from a Nintendo Switch, it looks like the Switch can barely even handle the game. But hopefully the Steam Deck will fare a little better. And of course a port for Donkey Kong Country HD. It's a port of the original Wii title. Now I don't know how to break this to you, but I've actually never played any Donkey Kong Country titles. Now don't get me wrong, they seem fun, but I just haven't gotten around to playing them. You could play this version on your Nintendo Switch, or you could emulate the Wii version on your anything else. Or better yet, you could emulate this version on anything else too, or maybe even, dare I say it, the Steam Deck. Next up is Dragon Quest III, and it's an HD 2D remake. in the vein of something like Octopath Traveler. I've been told I should get into the Dragon Quest series, and honestly, I've been meaning to. And hey, I might get started with this one. I do have to say, the game looks great while still respecting the late Akira Toriyama's art style. This is available on PC. As for whether or not this game will run on Steam Deck, well, I mean, the prior HD 2D games, you know, Octopath Traveler 1 and 2, and also Star Ocean, they all ran pretty well on Steam Deck, so I have no reason to believe that this all of a sudden wouldn't. Yes, I believe this will run quite well on Steam Deck. Next up is Funko Fusion. You know, I hate Funko Pops. Funko Pops are ugly as sin, and I don't understand why so many companies partner with Funko Pops. It's ridiculous. I don't understand why so many people buy Funko Pops too. They don't look good, period. Anyways, this game will be available on Steam. From the looks of it, the game seems to be running okay on Switch, and so I have no reason to believe that this wouldn't run okay on Steam Deck as well. Next up is Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. You know, I've never actually played Luigi's Mansion 2 or 3. I've only ever played the first one on the GameCube. Anyways, it's a Switch exclusive, so you're going to have to emulate this if you want to play this on your Steam Deck, or you could just play it on your Nintendo Switch. That's always an option. The new Denpa Men. I'm not really sure what to make of this title. What I do know is that it's a free-to-play RPG. Anyways, this is supposed to be a timed exclusive on the Nintendo Switch. Given that this is supposed to be a free-to-play title, you know, that's contingent on always online servers, it's hard to know whether or not you can emulate this title. But given that this is supposed to be a timed exclusive and not like a full-on exclusive, it may come to Steam later. Next up is a game called Metal Slug Attack Reloaded. It's a tower defense game featuring all sorts of Metal Slug bosses, vehicles, characters, enemies, and, you know, generally speaking, a lot of Metal Slug stuff. It seems like SNK remembered that Metal Slug exists. This and Metal Slug Tactics is pretty cool, but you know what they should do? They should make a brand new Metal Slug title. That would be pretty sick. Yes, this will also be on Steam as well. Darkest Dungeon 2 is already on Steam, and it seems like it runs pretty well on Steam Deck already, so let's skip this one. Lots of Nintendo Switch online stuff. You could play these, you could emulate these on the Steam Deck already, so we're gonna skip this entire section. But please play Four Swords with your friends, you won't regret it. Next up is Phantom Brave: The Lost Hero. You know, I didn't think they'd ever make a sequel to Phantom Brave. Much like Disgaea, this is also a tactical RPG. Now, it's been a couple of years since the original Phantom Brave released, so it's hard to know whether or not they'll keep the same design philosophy and balancing philosophy. But I'm gonna give this game a shot regardless, cause honestly, Nippon Ichi games are really good. The game will be available on PC, but a little bit after the PS5 and PS4 and Nintendo Switch releases. So we will have to wait till the PC version releases to play it. Generally speaking, Nippon Ichi titles run pretty well on Steam Deck, and hopefully this one is no exception. Though it looks like the Nintendo Switch can barely even handle some of the effects in this game, which is crazy to me. This right here is a new Marvel vs. Capcom compilation featuring basically every game in the entire series except for Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. It's even got the Punisher beat 'em up, and this has online rollback netcode, so hopefully it'll be pretty good. I mean, the games themselves are very good, I already know this. I actually haven't played the Punisher beat 'em up myself, but I've heard it's pretty good. The only difficult part is playing online with these titles, mostly because the people that still play this game are really freaking good. I have no reason to believe that this won't run well on Steam Deck. I mean, Capcom's generally done a good job of making their games run well on Steam Deck, except for Dragon's Dogma 2, but that's a different story. And look, new Mario Party title. Mario Parties are generally pretty fun, but they're unsuitable for anything else besides playing on the actual system themselves, especially these Mario Parties on the Nintendo Switch. Just do yourself a favor and get a Nintendo Switch if you want to play Mario Party. The new Legend of Zelda is pretty cool. Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. This is actually going to be the first Legend of Zelda game where you play as Zelda. And no, we're not counting the spin-offs or the CDI titles. Now you can truly play The Legend of Zelda. Honestly, the whole item duplication mechanic in this game seems absolutely insane. This game's gonna be like a speedrunner's paradise. There's Just Dance, okay, whatever I guess. There's also LEGO Horizon, definitely going to be the best game in the Horizon series, and I really mean it. Stray's coming to Nintendo Switch, everyone's already run Stray on their Steam Decks. Tales of the Shire, a Lord of the Rings game. You know, when I said I just wanted more Lord of the Rings title, I didn't mean this either. What I really wanted is something like Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, on the Xbox or PS2. Anyways, this game's coming to Steam as well, and it'll probably run pretty well on Steam Deck. Ace Attorney Investigations Collection is also coming to Steam as well, and I mean, they're visual novels with point-and-click elements. What more do you want me to say? They'll run pretty well on Steam Deck. The 100-line Last Defense Academy kind of reminds me of something. Yes, the art style is by the same guys behind Danganronpa, but what it actually reminds me of is 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim. Yes, this game is coming to Steam. It's difficult to find, but yes, there is a Steam entry for this game. I have no reason to believe that this game wouldn't run well on Steam Deck. It looks pretty neat though. Is it a bad time to mention that I've never played any of the Romancing Saga titles? I guess it shouldn't be that surprising. There's a lot of games I really haven't played that you guys would be surprised about. This is a full-on remake of the original Romancing Saga 2 title, and yes, I haven't played that either. Anyways, it looks pretty cool. I want to play it. It's coming to Steam, and it seems like it could run pretty well on Steam Deck. And of course, Nintendo's final surprise, Metroid Prime 4. Metroid Prime 4 reached Silk Song levels of hype, and Nintendo has delivered. Is it a bad time to mention that I've actually never played any of the Metroid Prime games before? I've only ever played the old 2D Metroidvanias and Metroid Dread, of course. So I'm gonna do myself a solid and jump straight into Metroid Prime 4 and hope for the best. Some say this will be a Switch 2 title, a sort of cross-generational title between the Switch 1 and the Switch 2, much like Breath of the Wild was for the Wii U. If that's the case, then it might be worth it to buy a Switch 2 and hopefully get a much better experience. Who knows though? So that about covers this entire Nintendo Direct. A lot of great surprises, especially if you like Nintendo titles. There were some nice third-party surprises like Phantom Brave and Marvel vs. Capcom Collection, but honestly, this showcase was for the Nintendo Switch owners. The Nintendo Switch is not going out lightly. It's going out with a bang. And of course, if I get myself a Nintendo Switch 2, then know that I will definitely cover it, and I will definitely compare this to the Steam Deck. That's just the nature of the beast. If you like this video, please press the like button and check out our other videos, and if you like those other videos as well, be sure to press the subscribe button and share the good gospel of high-tech lowlife with your friends. Furthermore, we have a community Discord for enlightened individuals such as you. And if you wish to further support high-tech lowlife, be sure to check out our Patreon page, links in the description.